Hi everyone, and welcome again to Boost Filled Sewing. So today's make is a little bit silly, but also a whole lot of fun. So after making the Edwardian Cavalier cape with the sham vest and the Edwardian men's corset, which I'm looking at right now, I thought, what else could I make that would enhance this look and make it, just a little more perfect? And I was flipping through the Thornton's International System and I saw the perfect accessory, Spatterdashes or Spats. So that's what we're going to be making today. So when it comes to materials, spats are traditionally done in wool, which makes a lot of sense because if it's something that's going to get dirty, wool is a great material because if it's a little bit of mud, you just let it dry and you can brush it off and it's basically as clean as it was before. But I can't seem to find a nice white wool. And I have this line from the musical Chicago where Billy Flynn mentions his satin spats. That's something fancy that he doesn't need, allegedly. And so I'm going to go with satin, which will definitely not clean as nicely as wool, but these are just for show anyway. So I have a nice, it's a polyester satin, but again, it's a really nice polyester. I've worked with it before, irons well, all that. I'm going to use this, again, polyester interfacing I have in my stash. Hopefully it adheres nicely because that doesn't always happen. But, fingers crossed. I do have a fusible cotton interfacing, but I'm kind of saving that for, a little bit nicer projects with nicer materials. When it came to buttons, I'm going to go with these ones again, which you'll recognize from the Cavalier Cape project. But I thought, when I picture Spats buttons in my head, it's these shiny black ones on white. And then for the strap that goes under the spats, I have a chunk of scrap leather here. It's sort of off-white. It would be nicer if it matched, but if it's going across the bottom of my shoe, it ain't gonna be white for very long. And then I have a whole assortment of buckles. So I'm probably gonna end up going with these. And of course, in order to draft the pattern, we need a very rare and elusive ingredient for the process, paper. So now that I have all my stuff together, I can go ahead and get to drafting. All right, so here's my draft of the Spats pattern. And I gotta say, when you use these old drafting manuals, there are some things that they just don't tell you how to do, like how to get X, no instruction at all. Same with J and K. There was no it is so many inches from C or A. So I just had to make a guess based on the image. And again, they said, curve out H, J, D. Well, if I don't know where J is, where does this curve happen? But anyway, I guess you just do the best you can. So here is the draft right here. This is what the diagrams are that they give you. Now, here's another thing to keep in mind with sewing patterns and whatnot, is that these illustrations are very much an ideal. For example, if you look here, it's a very form-fitting, beautiful line, and that's what you're expecting. But when you look at the actual slope here that they give you, that will be what happens on your shoe, you're not getting this nice curve here. It's going to be a straight across kind of thing. The strap is over here. It's not going to be pulling this down. I've never made one, but I don't expect that to be the case because the tension is right here. But who knows, maybe there's some sorcery that makes this happen, but I doubt it. But anyway, I've done my pattern now. To the best of my knowledge, it's gonna work. So let's give it a go and see if I can make these happen. All right, so I have the outer and the lining of the first spat drawn out on here. I originally had gone in and started doing like a nice stitching line within my seam allowance here. But then I realized I have to put on some interfacing, and that's just going to iron away because I use the friction pens, which are amazing. But my tip to any sewist would be don't get the ultra fine point because it just drags along the threads of your fabric and doesn't do as nice of a job. But the regular one is aces. So time to cut them out and also cut out some interfacing, fuse them, and then I can get to sewing and see if this will actually fit me. I didn't do a mock-up because I have tons of this polyester and I'm just risking it. We'll just hope for the best that it fits on the first go. All right, we're at the ironing board and I have fused the interfacing, which guess what? It did stick really great. And guess what also? I originally stuck it to the wrong side of the, or rather I stuck the fusible interfacing to the right side of the fabric, and thus I had to rip it all off and start again. But anyway, I got these pieces sewn together. Here is one of the outer sides pressed. And now after I do this one, I will do the lining layer, press them, and then we will attach it all together. Time for buttonholes. You know when you're working on something and you finally hit a point where the thing you're making starts to really look and feel like what it is that you're making. This is that moment for me. Those buttonholes, apologies for the shadow, really do it. Boop. It's gonna be good. All right, so the buttons are all sewn on, looking good. I tried them on and they fit great. Now it's just time to add the buckles and the straps, and they are done. Let's talk shoes. So these are my dress shoes. They have a leather sole with some grippies, and I just didn't think that the shape of the toe was going to work for the spats, because when I look at pictures of men's shoes with spats from the time, they seem to have a much rounder toe with a, not necessarily like long and pointy, but like they seem a bit longer and rounded. So these didn't quite work. So I borrowed, for the drafting process, this pair, which the shape was very satisfactory, I thought, but they are a little too small and they hurt my feet. And not just like a, oh, you know, these are a bit snug. I can't walk properly in these. So they're no good for actually wearing my spats about town. So I was at the thrift store the other day and I found these. They were only $13.99 and they are pretty much exactly what I was looking for. They have a nice higher heel than modern shoes, and they got that sort of nice round toe on them. I don't know how old they are. They do look a lot like the advertisement for men's slippers from the 20s that I have clipped out and framed behind me. So aesthetically, they're really good. The company, it's kind of hard to read here, but it says custom grade Dax finest quality shoes for men made in Canada since 1834. And I think it says hand finished underneath that. But anyway, I thought these were perfect and they were very affordable, so that's good. But they need a little loving. So let's have a look at some materials I will use to, spruce these up a little bit. All right, so when it comes to shoe revitalization and shoe repair, I'm very fortunate in that my town has an excellent shoe repair shop with very knowledgeable and also very nice staff. They've helped me on a number of occasions because this isn't my first pair of shoes I've bought that were old and a bit raggedy and wanted to do up. If you go over to my Instagram, you can see a pair of really nice leather boots that looked pretty much headed for the dumpster. And after some TLC, they look good as new again. But anyway, what I'm going to use for these shoes is a cleaner. So this helps get any salt off. And then we're going to condition it with some lotion because it is skin, as gross as it is to think about. It is hide and it needs moisture. And then we'll use a nice black shoe polish to give it back some life and fill in some color where it has worn away. Generally, they look pretty good. I could probably wear them and get away with it. But me being me, I'd like to give them some love and have them look even better than they do now. And here they are after their revitalization. I am very happy with how they came out. They look so nice. And I mean, there's still, some scuffs that cannot be helped, but for an old pair of shoes, I think they are looking pretty darn good. And now for the reveal. Okay, here they are. They're looking so good. I'm very pleased with how they turned out. We got the strap on now with the buckle. And in terms of costs, I think easily under $15, probably around $10 to make a pair. As far as time goes, however, including the drafting process, probably 7 to 8 hours. But I think it's worth it, and I have the pattern now if I want to make more. The only thing I would do different is maybe make a pair out of wool, because that would be more traditional and nicer. But I think these satin spats are looking pretty darn good on these newly cleaned up shoes. So yeah, there it is. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share if you think you know anyone who might enjoy this video. And I post every Friday. Thank you for watching.